Hello and good morning. Thank you so much for joining me and hearing all about the 5 best countries in Europe to experience by train. Now, I know that all of us can't exactly get to Europe right now, but there's no better time to start planning for when those planes are flying again, because we need the planes to get us to those trains. My name is Narelle and I am your host today, and I'll take you through a little virtual trip through Europe and highlight some of the fabulous itineraries that we can start to plan our next vacation through Europe with Railbookers. Now, before we do get started, if you do have a pen and paper handy, please take note of our reservations number. It's at the bottom of the page. It's at the bottom on the bottom right hand side, 1300 938 534. And you can also take down our website, railbookers.com.au. You can also download some of our customizable flyers that is in the downloadable box. Now, if you do have any issues with that, not to worry, just call the phone number or pop it into the questions box and we'll be able to service you after this webinar. So speaking of that questions box, if you do have any questions at any time, then please absolutely pop them in there and I will get around to answering as many questions as I can at the end of this session. We do have quite a large number of attendees today, so we'll get through as many questions as I absolutely can. So thank you so much for joining me from wherever in Australia and New Zealand you are. Now, who are we? So a lot of you have likely travelled with us before, or you're interested in hearing a little bit more. So we are Yankee Leisure Group. The first brand was called Yankee Holidays, and that was established a good 47 years ago. Yankee Leisure Group was formed because we started to manage multiple brands. So we are rail experts. All we do is rail holiday packages. So in Australia, we have 2 distinct brands, and that's our Amtrak Vacations brand for America and our Railbookers brand that encompasses the rest of the world, including Via Rail Vacations, Eurostar Vacations, Trenitalia Vacations. So all of that is rolled into the Railbookers brand there as well as Amtrak Vacations also comes under the Railbookers. So put it this way, if you're looking at doing any rail journey around any place in the world, we will likely have a fantastic itinerary for you, or we can even customize that itinerary for you as well. I will talk a little bit more about customizing itineraries, but what we do have are a couple of brochures. So call us or pop it into the questions field at the bottom if you'd like to receive a brochure, and we can get one in the post to you. They are brochures, so they're free, and it's free to post, so you're not paying anything. And we also have a lot of those suggested itineraries in these brochures and also on the website. I will talk a little bit more about the customizing itineraries. So when I was just showing you then the brochures and our website, they're suggested itineraries as to what people do, and we'll cover off a few of those as well, but we can customize anything. So why people just absolutely love Railbookers? Well, best thing is Australian dollars. We do have a local office here in Sydney, which is where I work. Right now I am home-based, of course, but we are actually set up fully operational in Sydney CBD in Elizabeth Street there. You can also book 24 months in advance with us. So when you're planning a much longer journey and planning really far in advance, there's a lot of advantages to that. Generally, you get to choose what kind of hotels, or there's a lot more availability for accommodation. And then that means the price is generally a little bit cheaper as well the further out that you do book. When you do call a consultant, our average hold time is only 3 seconds. So we're straight onto it and happy to help you and answer any questions and put together an itinerary for you to review. We can also factor in any of your bucket list experiences, and we'll have a little look there. Freedom and flexibility, because we customize all of these itineraries at no extra charge. You tell us how long you're going for and what your budgets are, and we'll be able to piece together a fabulous itinerary, and of course the destinations you would like to visit. Traveling by train by far is the most scenic way to travel. The different countrysides, it goes from city to city throughout Europe. so you don't have to go and spend a lot of time in airports and then flying over countries. Instead, you travel through them. So by far it is the most scenic way to travel. Also, no automobile has really ever gone where these train tracks go, so it is a fantastic experience. We also have a lot of room to roam on board these trains, so you can get up, stretch your legs and walk around the carriages. As I mentioned, we do have customizable itineraries. You tell us how long you want to go for and what your budgets are, what your bucket list items are, and we can put that together for you. Customizing is no additional charge. Now, we do have 24-hour support as well from our global offices. So Sydney, Australia is the office I work in. We've also got London, UK. So if you're traveling through Europe, London, UK office is open at the same time zone that you're traveling, so they can also help you. We have an office in Beverly, Massachusetts, which is just outside of Boston. We have our office in Toronto, Canada. That's our newest office. And we also have Laguna Hills, which is in Los Angeles, California. So no matter whereabouts you are in the globe, there'll be an office that is open to be able to help you, whether it be changing an itinerary or whether you missed a train, which I'm sure nobody will, but yes. So we also do have maximum flexibility offer as well, because we know people are starting to plan their trips, but are not too sure about when the planes will be flying to get us to the destination to start. So we can reschedule any of your reservations up to 5 days prior to departure. Now we take the mystery out of rail. Now, if anyone has ever tried to piece together rail for Europe, it is such a complex project to do. So you see all of these colours? The colourful lines each represent a different high-speed railway line in Europe, and none of them talk to each other. So as we are the rail expert operator, we know exactly where the trains go and the best routes to recommend. We also know how to do the transfers, so from one train line into another train line. We can access the schedules and fares further out than anyone else. And if we look back on those other slides, it's 24 months. So all of those different coloured lines are the high-speed rail networks through Europe. And it's like trying to piece together all different air lines. You have to go onto a different website and piece them all up. That's what you would have to do if you tried to do this. But we've got the systems that can pull all of that for you and make nice, seamless transitions and transfers there. We also make Canada by train very easy also. So this is a really big brand that we do sell underneath our Railbookers product, because Canada is such an iconic train destination, mainly because of the beautiful Rocky Mountains. However, we do have a fabulous itinerary that goes coast to coast. So from Vancouver up through the Rocky Mountains into Winnipeg, over to Toronto, go down to Niagara Falls, up to Ottawa, Montreal, Quebec City, Moncton, and over to Halifax. So that's the fabulous coast to coast, and that is a very popular itinerary also. We have direct partnerships with rail operators around the globe, which is why we are able to access their fares and schedules 24 months in advance. So we can pull all of their systems and put it into ours and make everything all pieced together nice and seamlessly, so you can get the absolute maximum out of your traveling itinerary when you're in Europe. Not only do we offer rail, yes, rail is a very big piece of what we do. In fact, it's the core of what we do. But what we can also offer is a one-stop shopping booking experience. Now, pretty much you can say one call takes care of it all. And by that, we can get you the confirmed seat reservations, the sightseeing activities, the hotels of your choice. Do you want to stay in the city? Do you want to stay closer to the train station? Do you want to stay a little bit further out? Do you want to stay in a character area? Is there a particular hotel chain you like? So there's a lot that comes into the hotels as well. We also can add in the ferries, excursions, and overnight rail journeys. Where we are good as well is we, because the volume of people that we do piece together rail itineraries, we know that time is the essence, especially when traveling, and we don't want to spend half a day lining up in the sheer heat in Rome trying to get, for example, into the Vatican. So we can also offer you skip the line access passes, and that will definitely save you a lot of time. Now, when we're looking at rail travel, because this is the core of what we do, this is so important because it gets us from A to B, and we want to have comfort. So before we do go into our itineraries, let's have a look at what some of our life is like on board rail in Europe. Now, many European trains are similar, and so therefore in that they do have generally a standard and a first class. So you could also see that as an economy and a first class, but we call it standard. So standard class is in a 2-2 configuration, and there's also outlets at the seat, which is very much needed in today's tech world. First class provides more legroom and is in a 2-by-1 configuration, which is also providing a bit of a quieter experience as there are fewer people in the car. First class will often include a light meal or snack as well. Now, most trains in Europe do run on time, and they also run often. So with our experts, we can suggest the best routes and times to fit your needs. We will always include seat reservations wherever possible, depending on whether the train line has those, and also guaranteeing a comfortable journey for you on board. What we do find is most of our clients do actually travel first class. There's not much price difference, and it is a quieter and more legroom kind of experience. And the main reason is in first class, you have a lot more of the tourists, you have a lot more of the travellers, so like-minded people. In standard class, you may have a few of the commuters and a lot more of the locals on board as well. There's also a bit more room in first class for you to be able to put your luggage, and you are allowed to carry 2 bags on. And I would always recommend stowing your luggage at the end of the carriage and taking what you need with you for your journey and popping that above those luggage racks or underneath the seat in front of you, whatever will fit. And then you can have everything there for your day of travel, as you normally would like a day bag. Sorry, so we've also got the fabulous luxury rail travel. Now, these are your bucket list itineraries. We've got fantastic VSOE, which is the Venice Simplon Orient Express. This sells out so far in advance. This is a real golden era of travel. In fact, all of these are. Look at the beautiful decor. It's the experiences. They do themes. They have dress up, you know, black tie dinners. And it's just a real good way of bringing back rail travellers to how it once was. We also cater for Australian plane travel as well. The Garn is featured there. We've got fabulous Canada also. Now, there's 2 choices in Canada. We have the Rocky Mountaineer, which is a fabulous product, and I think there's not one person in this world who doesn't quite know what the Rocky Mountaineer is. So good job to them. We work very closely with them. It is on a higher price tag. So if you can't, if your budget allows for probably a lesser price tag to have more out of your travels and maybe more spending money or to spend longer, Via Rail Prestige is a very, very good service as well. It's the same train tracks. So and then you've got access to all different domes there as well. So look, all of the luxury trains around the world, we can definitely look after you on those, but start to plan those a little bit further ahead of time. Now, we know because we go, every single photo here are of some of our staff around the globe from those offices that I pointed out. We travel by train every single year to experience the product. We then come back and we share what we learned. So that's why we know so much about the luggage, about the systems and what each train station would be like, what the facilities are like, whether it's good just to go get yourselves a snack at the train station or whether you purchase snacks on board. We go and check out all of that, so we have got the best recommendations for you. So let's have a look at some of these itineraries that we are seeing trending with us right now. Our phones are still open and we are still fielding inquiries and also still taking some bookings. Some people are looking at travelling at the end of this year a lot of people are looking for 2021 travel as well. So this beautiful itinerary, remember, these are just recommended itineraries. We can customize this. This one is from Switzerland to Austria, and it goes across the striking alpine scenery of Alberg Pass. It goes through Tyrol, which is absolutely scenic, to Innsbruck and Vienna. Now you spend a night in a vibrant Zurich before crossing the Alberg Pass by rail. Now you can sit back and relax as you do travel through the Alps before arriving into Innsbruck in the Austrian Tyrol, one of my favourite places by far. From here you continue to Vienna, where you will have 2 days to relax and see the sights. And there's so much scenic travel on this itinerary, including the train taking you through the Swiss and the Austrian Alps, which is one of my most personal favourite locations. It's got the snow-capped mountains and the fresh mountain air, as well as you will have the old town of Zurich to explore. And you can also stay in the imperial city of Vienna. Other than your stays, it is in these 3 beautiful cities, the itinerary will also include a Vienna city card to travel to all of the amazing museums in the heart of Austria's capital. And you can also stop in places wherever you like for coffee, cake, and just really soak in the fabulous atmosphere. And whilst we are in this beautiful part of the world, we also have our Scenic Switzerland, and this is a 9-day itinerary. Now this encompasses 8-night rail, and it's an odyssey of Switzerland. And it takes in the best the country has to offer. Switzerland is a rail destination, and so that's why what they do it so well, and there's so many different train experiences that you can do within Switzerland itself. Now you can start with a 2-night stay in St. Moritz, where you can ride aboard the stunning Bernina Express train, super popular. You can take the spectacular Glacier Express over to Zermatt for 2 nights and enjoy the iconic Matterhorn Mountain via the Goggenort Cog Railway. Now you can also travel to Lakeside Lausanne. Absolutely beautiful there, and I love walking across the bridge for a relaxing night before continuing your journey along the Golden Pass line to the beautiful Swiss town of Lucerne. The 3 nights here will have day trips in the world's steepest cogwheel rail, and that is by far an absolutely fantastic experience, and it will take you up to Mount Pilatus, and it is also the highest railway station in Europe on the Jungfrau Railway. It's breathtaking up there. I actually remember one time I had a bag of crisps and I took it with me, and because it was so high up that the pressure of the air, it expanded the bag of chips. So do little things like that. It's actually a little bit of science. It's a lot of fun, as well as your accommodation as well. And breakfast is included. This itinerary includes seats on all the scenic trains, Bernina, Glacier and Golden Pass, and that is so important to get those seats. As well, you have a day trip. You have a lot of different day trips as well, and by far Jungfrau is one of the most popular day trips with the magnificent mountain views. So these are all the different types of experiences on the different trains in Switzerland. But we haven't quite finished with Switzerland yet. But so what does it mean to customize a holiday? Now you can add in any destination. You can take a round trip journey. You can book a trip in reverse. If you wanted to not spend a night in Zurich, for example, beforehand, we can remove that night. If you wanted to spend 3 nights in Zurich, we can add 3 nights there. So that's what it is to customize your itinerary. We can also add on different suggested itineraries all through Europe and make it all match. But you just let us know what you would like and we can do that for you. Now, by far the Grand Berlin, Prague, Vienna and Budapest, this fantastic 9-day itinerary just encompasses so many fabulous experiences of what Europe does have to offer. We are a little bit further north now from where we were, and so we are with the Grand Berlin, Prague, Vienna, Budapest itinerary. Now, discover these four imperial cities in one fantastic holiday by train. You can travel through Germany to the Czech Republic, Austria and Hungary by high-speed train, taking in wonderful views whilst en route. And these high-speed trains are smooth, lots of legroom, and these views are just the contrast from all these different cities is truly an experience. Some of the highlights of this particular one is experience Berlin's past and present on a half-day guided walking tour. You can see all the sites at your own leisure with the hop-on, hop-off bus ticket in Prague. You can also sample some of Prague's most delicious dishes, or if you are a bit of a beer fan, the fabulous beer that Prague has to offer. And there's also a lot to understand about culture and history on a secret food tour. Now, you can also travel around Vienna easily with the hop-on, hop-off bus ticket. So this really comes into that freedom and flexibility and room to roam that we can offer you at Railbookers. Learn about making and tasting chocolate. You can also enjoy fantastic candlelit dinners there, and also full day access to steam rooms, saunas and spring-fed baths. So there's a fabulous mix of architecture, history and experiences on this particular itinerary. You'll definitely get the most out of your stay on an itinerary like that. As I mentioned before, we're not quite finished with Switzerland. So if you don't quite have the time to spend 9 days, we can do a shorter version of 7 days on this particular itinerary. So we do have the fabulous Swiss lakes and mountains, very, very popular because people will add this on to other itineraries throughout Europe. So start with an overnight stay in the fantastic and cosmopolitan Geneva, followed by another overnight stay in beautiful Montreux. Montreux, for me personally, was a hidden gem. I was not expecting anything of the fabulous French part of Switzerland that I'd ever seen, so I absolutely adored it. It has amazing lakeside markets, and we all love markets, has musical history and also a jazz festival at different times of the year. And also Freddie Mercury and the song Smoke on the Water was also there. So it is really a must visit. It really takes in a lot of history, but also a lot of more modern history as well. So something that we can all relate to on this particular itinerary. You will then also continue along the Golden Pass to Interlaken. So this memorable trip is the highest railway station to the top of Jungfrau Mountain before travelling through the Swiss Alps. And that is on board the Glacier Express to Chur, C-H-U-R, Chur. But it's okay if you call us and say Chur. That's what we were all doing originally before we experienced such places. Complete this incredible journey with the day trip across spectacular viaducts and also glide past the impressive glaciers to the Bernina Express to Tirano. There are so many highlights to be enjoyed in this particular one, but by far the most importantly are those Swiss scenic trains that skirt the magnificent mountains and that trip up to the top of Jungfrau. So here's some of the absolutely fantastic imagery there on that great itinerary. I just got carried away looking at the map there. I do apologise. We've got great maps as well if you do go onto our website. That will really help. So another reason as to why take the train. The image on the left is your stock standard, possibly motor coach, and the image on the right is a fantastic trip. That is actually on the Glacier Express right there on the right hand side. So I think this image speaks for itself as to why take the train when travelling through Europe. So which destinations are you currently interested? So feel free to add some of those into the questions box and I'll be reading out a few as they come in. Yes, definitely. There's a few people here answering for Switzerland. Okay, there's a few people here that are actually looking at Spain. Fantastic. Norway as well. So thank you very much for those of you who just contributed by putting them in the in that questions box there. Now remember where that questions box is. Oh, we've just had another one pop through. Scandinavia, yes, please. Now, whilst you do have that question box open, please feel free to go ahead and write any questions that you may have. Now the client testimonials as well. So these are people who have booked with us. A lot of you that have joined us today have booked with us in the past. A lot of you are just starting to look at an itinerary for when we can travel again. So here are some of the client testimonials as well from our past clients. We cater for everybody, whether it be families, whether it be pre-post cruises. There's a lot of people that will book that are doing a river cruise perhaps. Some people that are visiting friends and family and want to explore a little bit more of Europe whilst there. So why we love Railbookers, other than just those client testimonials, just to recap, it's Australian dollars, booked 24 months in advance. Average hold time is only 3 seconds. We can cater those fabulous bucket list experiences. We have freedom and flexibility. It's the scenic way to travel, room to room, and all itineraries are fully customizable. So we do have our maximum flexibility offer as well. So whether you've already booked with us or whether you are planning on booking with us, take a look at this maximum flexibility offer. And as you are speaking to a consultant, they can run through it all with you also. So we know that the planes aren't flying, but the trains are going. The trains never stopped moving. They are government networks, and we just can't get the Australians and New Zealanders there just yet. But the second those planes can take us to the trains, then we are, no pun intended, full steam ahead. So when you're ready, we're ready. This is only part of our global team that is here ready to service you on that 24-hour time zone. We've got a lot of the Australian team in here, but I won't point everyone out. But if you go 5 across and 5 down, and they're in the Wonder Woman outfit with my boss, and gee, she works me hard, then that's me right there. She's back at daycare today, so I'm actually rather excited. We're starting to see some questions coming in as well too, so thank you so much. The awards and recognition as well is we won the Rail Operator of the Year for the Travel Agent Awards last November. Now, I opened the office here in Sydney in August 2018, and by November 2019, we'd already received our award. We are game changers because we can piece all of this together and we can book it 24 months in advance. We can also fulfill all of those bucket list itineraries. So we are a one-stop shop. One call takes care of it all. We also work very closely with all travel agents. So if you do have a preferred agent to go through, we are more than happy to piece together your itinerary through them. I'm starting to see a couple of questions coming through too, so thank you. I will be starting to answer a few of those. Explore the experience of Alaska's jaw-dropping scenery with these new trips. That is just one of the many pages that you will land on when you visit us at railbookers.com.au. We are seeing a lot of interest for Alaska, and why not? I was actually hoping to go there this year. I'm realistic, it won't happen, but it's definitely something that a lot of people are now looking at for the end of this year and also next year. So once you also get on to the website, you can also see all of our upcoming webinars. We do have different topics every single week, and we do try and zone in on different regions throughout Europe and also Canada and America. So don't forget to download those handouts, and if you do get stuck, just call 1300 938 534. Now, please go ahead and start to populate your questions in here, and I'm going to start to pull up some of them that I've already received. So just bear with me, there's actually quite a few. Are we an Australian-owned company? Thank you very much for asking that question. We are owned by an American company called Yankee Leisure Group, and they have the government network contract for all rail lines. In fact, where we really became Yankee Leisure Group was because we had Yankee Holidays, and we acquired the contract to run Amtrak Vacations. So we are Amtrak Vacations. But we do have global offices, and we do run everything in accordance with Australian law and everything here as well. We operate as though we are an Australian company because we do need to adapt to each market. Okay, so I've also got another question here is how much information is given about the culture, food, art, etc. whilst on any of the trips? You've got to let any of your guides know if you are doing a private guided tour where your areas of interest are, and they can really zone in on a lot more of that as well. So it really is, I was once a tour guide myself, and if I knew that my client had more interest in food and wine opposed to history, then I would factor that into a lot of the experiences there. So yes, no, you can definitely learn a lot more about that. Is there a discount for 2 passengers sharing a room, or do they pay at 2 cost? Well, it is a per passenger a traveling passenger cost. So when we piece it together, it will be for 2 passengers, and then that will be the overall amount there. Oh, and I missed one as well. Someone would like to be in Venice. Okay, and someone's also asking about how they would do the Glacier Express. Well, I think that's something that possibly our consultants can help you with personally after this. So be on standby. I'll have one of our consultants call you directly and talk to you a little bit more about the Glacier Express and how they can piece that together for you. Okay, I've got one last question coming through. And do you need to pay in full? No, you do not need to pay in full with us. It is actually a deposit, and it's $250 per person deposit. So that will also factor into that question that other person asked about, is it per person? Yes, and the deposit is per person as well. And then you don't need to pay it until closer to departure. But what that deposit does is it locks it in at that rate, and it locks in the hotels, and it locks in those trains, and it locks in absolutely everything. So that's why we can piece this so far out in advance. So I would like to thank you all so much. A few of you may receive a call back from some of our consultants just to answer some of these specifics in further detail. Look, I hope to see you all on board very soon. I know I can't wait to get out and start traveling again. You don't realize how much you miss something until it's been taken away from you. And we're seeing that definitely on the rail side. So I wish you all safe and happy travels when we can travel again. In the meantime, let's do our part, combat this, and I'll see you all in Europe soon. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.